Um, are you okay if I record right now?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Well, what was going on there in Alabama where they got caught with those 10 kids, um, that's just essentially what I came from, something like that. And as I understand it, 5 of the kids out of the 10 were related to the people running the operation.
The Trump
So
Epstein
that,
operation.
yes.
Yeah.
And, in as much as these people are going to go down, they were working for somebody.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure that those people, and they deserve to go to prison and all of that stuff, but they were running this deal and filming their films and doing all the things that they were doing for somebody else. So whoever, Epstein's not running it anymore. Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison, but I would just about guarantee you that wasn't the end of it.
Yeah. So with those, when we were just discussing with the parties, those torture parties with the girls at the brothels, they'd go to the parties, and often they didn't come back from the parties. We summarize again what was going on there.
Well, sometimes they would go to the party and they would be beaten to death or tortured to death at the party by the client. Other times they would go to the party, and depending on I know sometimes the status of the person that the girls had been an escort for would be problematic because they wouldn't want to leave like a witness. So
you mean like it was an individual that was considered high profile?
Yes. I couldn't name names on that. I don't know who, but yeah, sometimes they didn't want to leave the girl alive.
So how often, when the girls from the brothels would go to the parties, how often did the girls not come back?
If I had to guess, I'd say like half the time.
Half the time.
Yeah. The parties weren't something that happened all that often. Like it'd be around like the federal holidays and stuff like that, Labor Day, or, 4th of July, where you typically would think of as a 4-day weekend.
Yeah.
And, not all of them had parties. Well, I guess all those bigwigs have parties, but, not all of them were those type of parties where they had underage people, I guess. So I don't know how that part was organized.
Yeah. Yeah, so they seem to tie the parties with holiday weekends and things where could be presented sort of like, oh, it was a Labor Day party, or it was like a
Right.
Christmas holiday parties, some parties at the locations, but it was always where the parties were then dwindled to 8 or 10 of the more depraved pedophiles.
Yep.
This was when a lot of the more depraved torture and rape and murder occurred, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And I just think that that's an important distinction because a lot of those people that did go to those parties and might have done some cocaine and might have, had an affair or whatever with an escort, it just doesn't rise to the level of what happened towards the end of them. That's a different, there's an illegality of what happened in the beginning of that, but then there's, obviously there's different levels of everything. So, and I think to some degree the people that were waiting there to the end of the party, they're using all of those other big names and stuff that may have done things that they're not proud of as cover.
Yeah.
It couldn't have possibly happened at this party because, hey, everybody and their brother was at that party.
Well, I think they were and I think they were probably trying to get information on all of those attendees and sort of to use as a protective blackmail layer regarding the more depraved torture and murder of American children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever, in those years, did you ever see anyone other than American children? Yeah, okay. Let me ask you another question. Now, something I think just contextually and just more to get a sense. I know it's not what you would want to swear in a Bible because your recollection is unclear, but you talked about that there are individuals that you thought might have been involved, that you saw at parties that had assaulted you. Are you okay to talk about some of those individuals? Now I'm asking specifically to get more context, but specifically, especially in terms of how we're looking at proceeding prosecutorially. I want to make sure we're talking to the right folks, especially considering how many folks did attend some of those bigger parties before these whittled down to the hardcore torturers.
I've really kind of shared the people that I have a clear recollection of. The rest
Yeah.
of it just kind of melds together into something that I can't verbalize well enough to make an accusation in any direction.
Yeah.
And for some of that type of stuff, you just kind of just go off into another place. There's really no other way I can describe it.
Yeah.
So I mean, you deal with the aftermath,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as the actual incidents, most of them are blurred out.
Mm-hmm. And you said in terms of the parties with the girls with the brothels that when they didn't come back, that they were sort of sold. They were told that the girls had gone on to the mansion or to maybe somewhere a mansion overseas to kind of live out their dreams. But
Right.
in cases, the girls were either tortured and beat to death at the parties or sometimes shot.
Yes.
And what would you say was the average age of the girls there?
If I had to guess an average, I'd say 13.
13.
Right. A couple, maybe a year or two younger. A bunch of them around that age, and by a bunch, I don't think there was ever more than 5 or 6 there at a time. But even in the short time that I was there, it was Samantha was the only one that was there when I had gotten there, I think.
Yeah.
So.
And you said, so 5 at a time at the brothel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Something like that.
And then at the parties, when it was just like the 8 or 10 of the more depraved pedophiles, how many kids at the parties then?
Just, maybe a couple.
A
3.
couple, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So 8 to 10 adults and 2 or 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
And you said the adults would vary party to party, but some of the adults were similar, or the adults were different party to party.
There were faces that that I saw more than once, and in being able to recognize people, I have given all the ones that I've really kind of recognized.
Yeah.
But you would get a sense of who was more safe than others.
Yeah. Yeah, my sense is that how it was sort of organizationally structured is that there were sort of satellite setups, that there was more use of the smaller airports and even the smaller planes to transport, and there was use of private investigators to recruit and then get intel, even kidnap and then silence victims, and that they did use the bigger parties to provide sort of criminal cover for the more targeted parties, and that they try to keep a tight lid on the targeted parties in terms of the number of pedophile participants and the number of children per party in terms of victims.
Right.
And there could have been other locations, like you said, you didn't experience awareness of, where the perpetrators would target different victims in different locations, 2 or 3 at a time.
Oh, I'm sure that they had, I don't know, it was almost, looking back on it, it was pretty well organized. So
yeah,
it would be hard for me to believe that it was only happening in that one place. I never went to a different place that I can recall, but yeah,
and
I would think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's okay.
And do you have any sense of where, like, you said there was lots of farms, different locations, but were you taken more often to one specific farm that you seem to remember more? Is that correct?
No. There was one in Tennessee that I went to a couple of times. And then another one in Alabama a couple of times. And then I can't really remember specifics other than those 4.
Yeah.
And then one, let's see, we went back to that one. That was those 2 times. Yeah, that's really all I have much of a recollection of. I know that I attended more things than just that. It's just that as far as the specifics go,
Yeah, in terms of locations.
It's hard. It's their old memories too. Some of them go back, like 9 years old.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm asking a bit, like I say, in terms of like figuring out sort of simply in terms of finding the right prosecutorial support, and in terms of carefulness of us getting those copies of those reports. Like, it's sort of a weird chicken and the egg thing in terms of, like, some of the police departments, they'd want to look at copies of reports, but we want to get those copies of those reports safely without triggering anything in terms of United States surveillance.
Well, all I can do is ask them. Like if I'm being watched, then they're going to see what I do. But I don't know. I can't really worry about it anymore.
No, you can't. You can't. I mean, what's your sense in terms of what's really right for you?
I have no idea, to be honest. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I want to go up there and get that police report, and if I'm able to get that, then I'm excited to try to get the next thing. But I just have to make some headway somewhere.
Yeah, well, let's just go report by report, and I'll figure out. I know that there's a bunch in terms of Freedom of Information Act requests. I want to talk to the police officer again here. I mean, obviously, whatever the police officer talked to the police officers in the Intel division, they wanted to call me. So, like I say, I'll follow up and I'll say, look, we have these other reports. I can say to them, see if we get sort of the document I've got filled out a bit in terms of list of evidence. You can just say, here, there's a, just list of the number of police reports from childhood, CPS reports, all those ones. And then we can just sort of look at what we've requested, get some information, then I can, when I get the flash drive or the audio, so the different documents to the police officer to listen to, then I can say, here, look, this is what we've been working on so far, and I'll just tell her my concerns in terms of, if we ask for a bunch of these reports, is it going to flag anything, that would be in any way, considering the situation. I'll just ask if they can run the reports, even.
Okay.
Or who they could tell me that could run the report, some of those reports, that I could ask if the police department can't. There must be somebody else who I can speak to on Vancouver Island that can just run those reports, or in Ottawa or something, without flagging anything. Some of the journalistic organizations where there's tons of requests going through, I just want to be super careful in terms of where the request comes from, just so there isn't any inadvertent attention on you, right?
Right.
And obviously
man, I'm fried.
Pardon me?
I said I am fried. I'm gonna have to let you go. I gotta listen to some music, man.
Yeah, no, don't worry. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. This just really takes me to kind of a dark spot, man. And I kind of need to listen to some music for a while.
Okay, no, I understand. Enjoy some music, enjoy some quiet, and take care.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.